Welcome to the Whiskey and Wisdom Podcast, coming to you from the Cargo District Recording Studios in Wilmington, North Carolina, where we discuss the most fascinating topics of life. I'm Tyler Yaw with my co-host, Chris Keller, and each week we interview a special guest to learn how they acquired their wisdom over a glass of whiskey. So, sit back, pour yourself a glass, and enjoy Whiskey and Wisdom.
Welcome back, everybody. This week, I do have my amazing co-host, Tyler Yaw.
Hello, everybody.
And a friend who is a blast from the past, Miss Emmy Gibson.
Woo woo. Hey, everyone.
Was just awarded the Star News?
The Star News and the Wilmington Chamber of Commerce.
She's a 40 under 40 recipient. Funny enough, we actually had another one of those recipients on here a while ago. Connor Barth.
Oh, great. That's awesome. So I saw him just a few weeks ago at the ceremony.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a thing. Like, I know, I've seen the big boy, like the Forbes 30 under 30, and some of the creators I follow have won that, like Valkyrie and Nate Shot. And I'm like, hey, I'm so depressed right now.
I think the 40 under 40 is pretty new to Wilmington. I want to say it's only been like 4 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And another guy I know, we'll have him on here. He was on 40 under 40 a couple of years ago too.
Oh, great.
So I think it's a great accomplishment. And we'll go into that and figuring out what you did to earn that award.
Okay. Yeah.
Even if you think you might not have deserved it, but I think you did.
It's been really humbling and exciting and motivating for sure.
But to go off that, we're going to talk about the whiskey we're drinking.
Which is nice because other than last week and being gifted, this is our first whiskey that we're getting back to the normal way of life after 75 hard.
Yes.
So is it good that I miss out on that then?
I mean, we had a few drinks. Like Free Spirits was actually a decent non-alcoholic one. And there were some interesting beers we tried, but it was not the best of times.
They got a great selection in here, y'all. I wish you could see it.
The non-alcoholic selection has not gotten to the point of like, no, let's do this yet.
Oh yeah, no, y'all are too fresh for that. We don't need to be jumping into that quite yet.
The non-alcoholic beers aren't too bad right now, though. They have stepped up their game when it comes to that.
Awesome. It's always good to have an option.
Yeah.
Yes. So this week we brought on Uncle Nearest 1884, and I did this as like an inside joke. Because way back in the day, me and Emmy used to work at Bath and Body Works, and she was always picking on me. And
I remember it the other way around.
I mean, I pick on everybody. So
I was gonna say, if you weren't picking on someone, Chris, I don't believe it.
Right, then that means he doesn't like you. It's one of those situations. Yeah.
But as an inside joke, I pulled this out for her. But Uncle Nearest, if you guys didn't know, is actually a Black-owned distillery. Its origin comes from the real cool dude Nathaniel Green, who supposedly taught Jack Daniels how to brew his whiskey.
Distill.
Yeah, he is supposedly the first black master distiller.
Yeah.
Excellent.
He was a pastor and an ex-slave. So I was like, dang.
And him and Jack Daniels were bestest of friends and kind of helped each other out, kind of get to where they were and everything. So it was a really cool dynamic, especially back in that day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What a great story. I'm excited I get to try this one with y'all.
Yeah.
And so this new one, it's a blended whiskey like most of our stuff, but it's blended and chosen by his great-great-great-granddaughter. Maybe I might take out a great, I'm not really sure. But she's a 5th generation from the Green family. So, and she's just won so many awards, and this collection has won a lot. I think this one is a 7-year.
I think you're right.
Sit. So it'll be really cool. Very different.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh, I love that.
Sweet.
I'm having another sip.
That is good.
Oh,
I'll be quite honest. So I was at the Starling, shout out to them, across the street from us. And they had the 1864, 18 something?
What's this one? The 50 is the black label. So
yeah, it was the black label one. It has a black label on it. I think I like this one more than that one. And it's supposed to be the cheaper bottle that we have, the 1884.
Oh, that's a win-win.
So, exactly. So if you can get yourself a cheaper bottle, I still suggest to taste it over there too, just because it has a very unique taste. But this one's a lot sweeter, and I like that kind of finish.
So you had the 56.
That's what it was.
So this one, they come up with the names based off different things. 1884 was supposedly like the last year that he was like full on distilling before he just said peace out and retired.
Wow. Sweet.
So that's where the name came from.
Okay.
There is and it's considered a small batch. There is another option that is near impossible to get as well, which is like an 11-year wait.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Not actually a wait, but it's 11-year resting in barrels.
Okay.
And that's like the 1820, I think.
Well,
which I would assume is like a year that he was born. Haven't seen that one yet, so.
I would say I haven't even seen that.
I'm appreciating this history lesson.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Bringing the history, whiskey, and wisdom.
Yes.
Love it.
So let's get some more history from Miss Emmy.
Okay.
Tell us a little about yourself.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Emmy Gibson. I'm not born here, but raised here. I was just telling Tyler that I moved here when I was 6 and have been here ever since. Let's see. So I started my career at Bath and Body Works. Is that what I mean, I wanted to give a shout out to us. So that's how I first met Chris.
Yeah.
I worked there for about 3 years. Actually, I was thinking about that. Chris, I had a really fond memory of you at Bath and Body Works, where it was before I even met you. I think you were deployed.
Oh,
and
yes.
I had been hearing about Chris. Oh, he's so great. This, Chris. And I'm like, well, I'm excited to eventually meet him. And it was around Christmas time, I presume, that you sent like a box of scarves
Yes.
to all the staff. And I felt so just giddy and happy that we hadn't even met, but I got a scarf. I hadn't thought about that in years, but in preparation for this, that kind of came back to the forefront of my mind. And I just so thoughtful. That's a little bit about Chris and how thoughtful he is.
They also sent me a box of like Bath and Body Works, like wallflowers, which was amazing because I slept in a building with like 11 dudes and guys don't smell the best. So like,
Especially in the desert.
no. So I plugged that thing in and people, like all of my like senior enlisted people were like, thank you so much. It smells so much better in here.
That's awesome.
But
I do have to give Bath and Body Works a shout out though, because obviously that's how we met, but it did instill a lot of confidence in me to be able to speak to different people in different walks of life. So I do feel like that was a career starter in a lot of ways. I then worked at the Rape Crisis Center of Coastal Horizons, where I was a victim advocate and a prevention educator. So there I got to work with victims of sexual violence and help them throughout their process of healing, whether it's connecting them to therapy or helping them process or go through the process of working with law enforcement. I also was on call, so I would do a lot of hospital response where I would support victims of sexual violence if they were getting a rape kit done. And like I said, a prevention educator, I loved that part as well, where I got to go to a lot of middle school classes and teach about relationships and boundaries and flirting versus harassment. I liked that piece where I was supporting victims, but also trying to prevent victims in the first place. Then after a few years there, I worked at Easter Seals, UCP, and worked in their child care division. And I worked as a child placement coordinator. So I worked with foster children and teens and the amazing foster parents. After a little bit of time there, I then moved to Communities and Schools of Cape Fear, where for about 4.5 years, I coordinated the Baby Steps program, where I supported young parents, mostly young moms and their little ones, anywhere from in utero to about 4 or 5 years old. And most recently, I have taken on a new position with Communities and Schools as the Healthy Opportunities Pilot Project Manager. It's all such a mouthful, but I got it out. I'm so proud. Yes. So that is a Medicaid-funded program with the hopes of supporting high-needs Medicaid beneficiaries in the social determinants of health. So it's a pilot program. There's a lot of bumps in the road, but the hope is that we can show, wow, if we help people before issues arise, then not only are we helping individuals and communities, but we're also saving ourselves a hell of a lot of money on the back end as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you go into a little bit more about what Communities in Schools is? Because it sounds like they do a lot with the different programs that you've been a part of.
You nailed it. There's a lot going on. So Communities in Schools is actually a national nonprofit. We are Communities in Schools of Cape Fear. So our affiliate serves New Hanover and Pender County. Okay. So most of what Communities in Schools does is put what we call a student support specialist in a school. And those student support specialists are reporting to that school every day. They are supporting those students and that staff. But yes, there's community programs like the Young Parent Program, Baby Steps, that I previously coordinated. We are running Teen Court too, which is an incredible program. We've got after school programs, we've got summer school programs, and we're only getting bigger and better. Yeah. It's been a great organization to work with.
So how long have you been with them for?
For coming on 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Total. Yeah.
Cool. She's been doing the work.
I've been doing the work.
It makes sense how
I'm tired, but I'm happy.
Makes sense how you got the 40 under 40.
Oh, I appreciate it. It's been real. I think, it's all the sweet comments that I've been getting from family and friends has meant a lot, but especially the young moms that I've worked with over the years, when they reach out and have sent me a text message, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. That's what brings me to tears. Yeah. Really, really awesome.
That's really neat.
So one of the things I love about you is that, well, in general, we love you. Many things besides calling you Emery.
That is my government name. I will answer to it, you guys.
Is that you are not, like when I first met you, I looked at her and I was like, this is going to be a rich, stuck up little brat.
I've been called worse. I'm teasing.
But it's one of those things, like when you meet some people and everyone in their head, they have an assumption. Like some people are like, oh yeah, that's a big black guy. He's probably me. And then I saw, when I first met Emmy, mind you, this was almost 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. No, it was about 10 years ago when I met her. That was I was like, oh yeah, she's working at Bath and Body Works because she's bored. And then getting to know her, she's one of those people that has taken the opportunities and has chosen to learn.
Oh,
so so many people are like, oh yeah, I went to school to get an art degree just because I had to have it. But she's taken her degree and actually put it to use.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to cry today. That's so sweet to say. Thanks.
I just love that you've become such an advocate for so many people who might not have an advocate in other circumstances, or might not have someone who would be the proper advocate.
Oh, wow. It's an honor. Yeah. I can't imagine doing anything else with my life and supporting people. The resiliency that I see in the families that I work with, I can't put it into words. I don't have the language to eloquently put that into words.
How did everything come to fruition for you? Mm-hmm. So what was the inception of deciding you know what, this is what I'm going to do with my life? Kind of where did that start? Why did you decide to go to school for what you went for? Yeah. And kind of that.
God, I always grew up knowing I wanted to be in a position to help people. Mm-hmm. When I was the youngest, I remember I wanted to be a teacher. And I think that was because of my age. That was my way of helping. That's what I knew as a career field, to help people. Mm-hmm. And then I changed, oh no, maybe I want to be a therapist. And then I kind of landed in the middle of that. I have a specific passion around high school age, early college, of working with victims of specifically sexual violence. Yeah. And that's what led me to the Rape Crisis Center. And certainly in the jobs that I've held since then, I'm still working with victims who have experienced or victims of sexual violence. It's hard to really pinpoint it. It just has always felt right to help. I feel so fortunate. I've been given so much in life that I can't imagine not sharing what I have with others.
This is a little bit off topic, but kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But so since I moved to Wilmington, I realized what a big crisis it was for sex trafficking and the victims of rape and abuse and everything. And it's become a passion of mine to want to do something about it. So,
excellent. We need more men. Welcome.
So that's part of my question is, so I've seen nonprofits like Operation Underground Railroad and everything that they've done kind of really just going after the perpetrators of this. So my question is, as a male, what's something that we can do to provide extra help in the community for that? Because I feel like I probably can't give the same type of support that you can as a woman to another woman. Okay. Right?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say as a male, you need to help hold other males accountable and not fear a little bit of conflict. If you see another male with kind of questionable behavior, say something to him.
Yeah.
Because he's more likely to listen to you than he is to a woman, unfortunately. So use your voice and get comfortable with the uncomfortable.
I like it.
Yeah.
We talked about that before too.
We did. I know we were just saying that if it's a taboo topic, we like to talk about it more.
Right.
So it doesn't become so taboo.
I mean, there's some topics like there's a reason they're taboo, but I think you're right. Asking those questions to get someone to answer, like, why do you believe that? Mm-hmm. Like, me and my wife were like going back and forth and laughing because of all the craziness that Kanye has been doing lately.
Oh, gosh.
Always something.
Well, he's buying Parler now.
I just saw that this morning.
But before that, he was like, like people going into these conversations of like reparations or like was slavery right or like systemic racism. And some people are like, that's bullshit. I'm like, yeah, but is it? I'm like, there's a reason why some people don't go certain places.
Oh, absolutely.
And why is that? Because they feel a certain way.
Right.
Why do you not see a young blonde white girl walking through the hood?
Oh, you'll see me walking through the hood. They got a street named after me in Creekwood. Well, I'm teasing. It's not really named after me. But there is a street in Creekwood named Emory, and yes, I've got my picture underneath it.
Love it.
Oh, you
I
have
know. I know. I was telling one of the young families that I work with that is a resident of Creekwood. She was having another baby, and I was like, so you're going to name her Emory? You're going to name her after me? She goes, I cannot name my baby after a street in Creekwood. I'm like, all right, fair. You're right. I get it.
Oh, I love that. But putting that out there is like why you don't ask these questions, because people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like, why do you feel uncomfortable? Mm-hmm. Like me and Emily were talking, like I was joking with my friend the other day. I'm like, I don't run in my neighborhood in a black hoodie. She's like, you're silly. I'm like, no, it's happened once. I said that to my wife.
Oh, that said you're silly for.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, if it happened once, it could happen again.
Yeah. And it's happened more than once.
Oh, yeah.
Just as a rule of thumb, I suggest no matter who you are, don't run in the middle of the night in a black hoodie.
Fair enough. But we should all have the right to run in the middle of the woods in a black hoodie in the middle of the night.
I mean, I live in a neighborhood that's very dark, though. Like, we have lights through the neighborhood, and then once I go into an out street, it's like pitch black.
Okay.
And I can see just fine because, like, there's enough, like, moonlight coming out, and my wife is like, I see nothing. I was like, yeah. So if you saw me running at you, you'd be like, oh, nope, not a good idea. So we joke about that. But I do like to ask those silly questions.
But they're not silly.
I know, but like they're silly because they shouldn't be.
Right. I feel you. They shouldn't be
taboo.
silly, but
Yes.
they in a tab. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
It kind of goes back to like the whole comedy thing, where if you can make something that's serious funny, it makes it easier to talk about.
Absolutely.
So no matter which way you bring it up to talk about it, as long as it's being talked about, I think it's a good thing.
I agree.
I always have a random question.
I'm ready. Oh, I love it.
We're only 20 minutes in. There's going to be multiple random questions.
Oh, bring it up.
So-
I'd almost rather.
All right,
Okay.
so no, I'm not going to ask that one.
We'll go back to it. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, come back. I know. Now I'm really curious.
So in your new title,
Okay.
which is
Healthy Opportunities Pilot Project Manager.
okay,
Do they have to add the pilot part of it?
I know. I questioned it too, but because it's a pilot program, we do. It's not. This is not an established program. This is all new with Medicaid, so we do got to add it.
Interesting. Okay.
so when it becomes established and like
Hopefully, we can drop the pilot. Yeah.
okay,
Makes it a little bit easier. to
Yeah, but the acronym is HOP.
Oh, that is fun.
So, but the P in the HOP could also be the project part.
Okay.
Right now, it's technically, I guess you could spell it HOPP.
down with OPP.
That's what I was thinking.
I was thinking of PP like go to the bathroom, but all right, that's way.
I mean, you
cooler
do
way
work
to
with
do it.
kids more than
That's fair, and I have had to go to the bathroom twice before we even got started.
It's so ridiculous. But in that new position, how did you get there? Like, what was the transition? Because you were
Yeah, it was a new position within Communities and Schools of Cape Fear. They told us during staff meeting that they were going to be looking for applicants. And I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity for growth and change. And I need it. I need it and I deserve a little growth and change. And so I applied and they brought me in and they're like, all right, you want to do this? And I'm like, oh, wait, you're offering it to me right now? Oh, okay. And I took it and it's been bittersweet. I have loved running the young parent program with communities and schools, but I was hoping that me taking on this new position would also be an example to the young families that I work with that, hey, I want you to grow and change even when it's scary, even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. See, there's so many people who don't take that step. They're like, oh, hey, I'm comfortable. That's pretty much why I stayed at most of my jobs for at least like 5 years.
Oh, I get it. Yeah. Absolutely.
I was at Bath & Body Works technically for 5 years because I had that deployment year. I was like, well.
Yeah.
Then I didn't want to leave, and then I didn't love the new manager, so.
Oh, you either, huh?
That was so much
I learned, so after 3 years there, I was still making under $8 an hour. And I learned that the holiday staff that they hired that I was helping train was making more than me. So that's when I said, I got to go.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
No, that was, so we worked at Bath & Body Works back. So I started the year they increased the minimum wage, which tells you how long ago this was. So when I first started, I think I was making like $6.50 an hour. I left, went to basic training, and as I was gone, that's when they implemented like the pay raise. And I came in, I was like, oh, I'm making over $7.50. I'm doing groovy. But I was, and then we did the time, came back, and then I definitely remember that year where all these kids were getting, like, people were being hired, and there's so much drama because I'm like, why are they hired so much higher? And it shows even nowadays, I've seen it in businesses where they're like, hey, we'll hire the new people and pay them more and not help the people at the bottom. I'm like, but the reason you're here is because the people at the bottom got you here. You should be giving them a raise also. And I almost left for that reason, but I just stopped showing up to work.
I have to give it to myself. I did write a little I'm giving a 2 weeks notice thing. I tried to be professional about it.
You were nice about it.
I tried. My letter was a little scathing though, I have to say. Just a touch. Chris, what was your favorite scent at Bath & Body Works?
Ooh, I was literally just thinking about this because randomly there's a new fragrance that came out and I was like, this reminds me of something. And my brain made up a name for it and I couldn't find it. I was like, nope. I literally spent like 3 days trying to go through the internet and find this. Forever Sunshine.
Forever Sunshine. Was that a seasonal one? Or would come back every...
I think so.
Is that how it's released in Bath & Body Works? Like they teach you about like scent names?
Oh, do they?
Yes and no. So like they have the core, which stays all year.
Right.
And then they do release like a seasonal, like Butterfly Flower came out in the springtime. And then a Forever Sunshine, I loved because I'm like, this smells like Wilmington. And in my head, like...
I got to smell that one again. That's cute that
they
you just
tell
said
you
that.
The reason they change and come up with so many scents is because smell, like your olfactory senses, bring so many different memories for different people. And every time I smelled it, I'm like, yes, this reminds me of like August, September at the beach. Like it's hot, but it's warm and not like I'm dying kind of hot. Like it just had a nice scent to it.
So when they roll these out to you guys,
He's really selling it.
right?
Wow.
Oh, I could.
I know.
I could go back and go ham. In that
I
shop.
know.
Are they saying like, hey, this is the scent, and this is what you're gonna smell from the scent, and this is how you sell it?
Somewhat, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Have you been in Bath & Body Works, right, Tyler?
It's been years
It's been a
and
while.
years and years.
So you couldn't necessarily tell me like if you had a favorite scent from there.
No. So my son, I was telling you about,
Yes.
he's literally allergic to life, unfortunately.
Poor buddy.
So, yeah.
Really is.
Yeah.
Oh.
So we're not even allowed to light candles in our house.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
But he's worth it.
exactly.
No
yeah.
question.
And we can diffuse the essential oils.
Okay.
So
He's okay with that.
So
Good.
it's fine. Yeah.
That's less of a hazard too, honestly.
Yeah, true. He's not going to knock it over and like catch the carpet on fire.
That's awesome.
So many people plugged in, which essential oils, house on fire. They have a wallflower, and they at one point you had the ability to rotate, like it could rotate 90 degrees. So you could plug it into a sideways outlet. Oh yes. So many people would come in and complain that their thing ran out in like 20, 30 days. And I'm like, how is this happening? Like, this diffuser is set for 90 days. Like, it shouldn't take that long. Turned it upside down.
Oh, no.
Just straight poured out.
Dummies. No, I didn't say that. Edit that out.
No. Like, people are just stupid. Like, common sense to me says, why would I put something that points straight down? Like, and it's a liquid form. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I stick with it. Dummies.
Yeah. Right. We don't edit anything out of this podcast.
But yes, when they released them to us, they would give you a pamphlet that says these are top notes, mid notes, just like with whiskey, that you can kind of like go
Way to bring
over
it back
and know what makes the most sense. Like this is a top fragrance in this. Like your bottom intro is like the core that runs through a lot of them.
Gotcha.
So people will come back, and if at one point we worked in the time where they discontinued a shit ton of stuff, and they're like, here's a sheet that's like this big, half size of paper. That was like, if they like this, give them this, because this is discontinued. Go to this. Like they would connect you because they had similar fragrances. But yeah, that's how I learn things so quickly, is because I look at it and I'm like, Bath and Body Works released a new fragrance like every 2 months, and we had to like smell it, read about it, learn it, and then they gave us a little free sample every once in a while.
Nice.
Did I need it? No.
Good gifts.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Great.
Ladies love Chris.
All right, we're gonna go for full circle real quick, because I was thinking about something in your new position here. So since it is a pilot position, what are some of the goals and aspirations you have for kind of leading that program to where you think it needs to go?
Okay. So the hope with this new program is, well, first I'll get to supervise individuals to actually implement this program. So there's 4 domains to the Healthy Opportunities Pilot Project: food, housing, transportation, and interpersonal violence / toxic stress.
Huh.
Yeah. So the goal here is, hey, people need, in order to live a healthy life, people need more than just going to the doctor.
Sure.
They need safe and affordable housing. People need healthy food options. People need transportation to get to and from work and their daycares and their kids' school and the playground and the grocery store. And people maybe need some extra skills around interpersonal violence and toxic stress. So the goal is to really support individuals and families in our community that may need a little extra assistance in those 4 domains to make them healthy individuals, create healthy families, create healthy communities, and then therefore create a healthier world. Yeah. That's the goal. I mean, truly. And to save money on the back end, like I mentioned earlier.
Right.
Yeah. If we can help people be healthy now, then ideally they'll be healthy later, and we don't have to put as much money and interventions in later in life.
Yeah. That's a huge undertaking.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people involved in this. It's certainly not just me. Oh, no. I am a small piece. Absolutely.
So are you working with like WAVE and everything as well too? Just kind of bring everything together? Because with the affordable housing, I know I'm going to, just so you know, Luke Waddell, I'm coming after you soon to come on the podcast.
He was one of the 40 under 40s as well.
Yeah. So that was another reason too. But I know one of his big things that I always see his picture next to is affordable housing. So just, I can see the big pieces that come together just for those things individually. So when you said all 4 of them together, I'm like, oh wow, that is massive. Massive.
And those 4 domains are somewhat considered the social determinants of health.
Okay. That makes sense. So the healthy parts, is that like working with being like a food desert? Like, is that part of it too?
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So unfortunately, a lot of some of the downtown neighborhoods, maybe our Section 8 neighborhoods or low income neighborhoods, a lot of those families don't have cars. And so in order to, they're not getting to the grocery store. They're getting maybe to the closest like Dollar General. And that's where a lot of their food is coming from. Yeah. Obviously, the food that is at the Dollar General is not very sustainable to your health.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Not very nutrient.
But absolutely, food desert. That's definitely a buzzword.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day because, like, me and my wife, I don't know how we started, but like anytime we drove past and saw a Dollar General, like Punch Buggy, I'd like stab her for it.
Jennifer and I do that too.
Yes, because there's just so many. Yeah. And I'm like, why is there a DG instead of a grocery store? And it's because starting a grocery store is so much harder.
Right.
And like, your profits on a grocery store are so much slimmer versus Dollar General, which is a big business. They can make profit on stuff. Like I've seen the coupon TikToks where the girl's like, oh, well, they gave me $10, like something stupid like that. But I wish that it would become more sustainable for someone to, like New York City, they have shops, they have bodegas everywhere. Why? Because someone was able to put up a little shop and they didn't really care. But like Wilmington doesn't have.
No, and we have a few like small markets and bodegas, but they're expensive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, even I'm like, oh God, I can't really afford this, you know, and I've got a solid job. So certainly not a lot of these families. Yeah.
Which is.
Although I do have to give a shout out to Frankie's Outdoor Market, Saturdays, 9 to 1. They operate over near High Wire. Is that Princess Street?
Yeah.
And also I have to give a shout out to the Feast Down East.
Right.
They are a nonprofit that has a mobile market that goes to a lot of low income neighborhoods. But even if you're not in a low income neighborhood, go check them out, follow their schedule, and they do a $1 for $1 match if you have SNAP or EBT cards. A lot of great produce, meats and stuff. So it's definitely somebody to support. So we have some options. We're not totally out of luck, but we need more. We need more.
Yes.
Yeah, we had Robert Collins on a few weeks ago
Yes.
who worked very closely with Feast Down East
Excellent.
as well too.
Yeah,
so
they're
he was a
great.
very cool guy.
See, Wilmington is a small town.
That was the one thing. Ever since like the second year I lived here, I've always said Wilmington is the largest small town that I've ever heard
Absolutely.
of. Like,
It's a small town, but we're saturated and we're only getting more saturated.
Yes. I mean, you could legitimately do like the 7 points, like Kevin Bacon thing.
Oh yeah,
With
like 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Totally.
Wilmington, I think I personally could get to everybody within 3 people.
Oh,
Absolutely.
sure.
No
yeah.
question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the big things with just my family in general, my extended family, is the health portion of it. So what's a few of the ways that you're trying to, you said like, I don't want to use the term again because it's like a buzzword, but like a food desert, right? Like to combat that.
So with this Healthy Opportunities pilot, that's one way to hopefully combat it. For those that qualify, they will be able to receive money to be able to get maybe bus passes or Uber vouchers to be able to get to the grocery store, for example. But other than that, there's unfortunately not a lot of resources out there. And I don't necessarily have the answers. I'll be honest. I want to, but I'm not one to lie if I don't have the answer.
No, we appreciate that.
And I'll be honest, there have been definitely times where I have taken families to the grocery store, or just last week I took a young mother that was previously on my caseload that I still love and support, took her to go pick up her glasses. She didn't have transportation to go pick up glasses.
Oh, wow.
You know, and that's what I'm hoping that this new pilot project can start to help out with.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, Wilmington has a horrible transportation structure. Yeah. Like in general, like I love the city. I will probably only leave if I'm required to for upward mobility. But I feel like it grows too quickly. And there was no way to add in, like, there's spots where there should be sidewalks.
Yes.
And I'm like, why is there a sidewalk for the front of this one house? And then I don't see it again for like 3 blocks.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, you guys, like the county will pull their jurisdiction and be like, oh, hey, we want to put a highway through here, but they're not going to do it to take up, 6 yards of like people's property around the front to make the city more accessible.
Right.
Like, I feel like if the city, like with your program, you could, I know you do your best, but like if we could make the city more accessible, so give people more opportunities, sidewalks, ways to walk from place to place, or bike paths.
Yes.
I mean, but downtown Wilmington is just anything south of like Kerr Avenue is just a legit jungle.
You're totally right, Chris. Yeah. There was actually sidewalks were something that we talked about heavily in my community health major in college. I can't remember what class it was, but the lack of sidewalks in Wilmington. And I was something that I wouldn't have put together as being an issue until it was put in front of me. Oh, yeah, that is an issue. We need sidewalks. Trees too, y'all.
That is interesting.
But
There's not enough trees in our low income communities.
I can see that.
It is. And the trees that are there are little and short and stubby. And in just the recent years, I've realized, damn, trees are really important.
Yeah.
We need them for fresh air. We need them for shade. We need them for privacy. We need them for beauty. Yeah. And a lot of our low income neighborhoods and our friends and brothers and sisters that live in these neighborhoods they don't have trees.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
This is a little off topic, but it kind of makes sense.
I love that. That's how my brain works, honestly.
Did you go to UNCW?
I did, yes.
So have you seen the CIE building?
No.
So it's literally right next to Cookout.
Oh, okay.
In that same little parking lot.
Okay.
Like, close to
so
St.
I've passed
Patrick's
it probably a
Place.
bajillion times
You've passed
without realizing.
Times, never knew what it was. So there's a program in there. It's called 1 Million Cups.
Okay.
And what they do is they have people come in from different parts of the community, and they come in and they kind of do their little spiel about what they're doing. It's a lot of entrepreneurs, but a lot of people from the community in different aspects too. And so I think that would be a good thing for you to go to.
Absolutely. Thanks for letting me know. This is why we got a network, so we can learn about these things.
Exactly.
Great. Okay.
And two, the reason why I thought about to bring it up is the one question they ask at the very end of all of those is it's not necessarily a place for entrepreneurs to go to like sell their product, but to ask what the community can do for them. So that's why there's other community aspects and people other than entrepreneurs that go in there. So my question to you with that very long intro to it is what can the community do to help your program?
So in your spiel, what came to my mind is being person-centered.
Okay.
And knowing that they're not one size fits all, which I know is the harder answer, but that's how we actually get positive outcomes when we work to tailor a plan to support a person or a family to what their specific needs are. It's not, sorry, I'm forgetting the language around it. It's not a one size fits all. Right. That's a tough one.
I mean,
because it's not a straightforward answer. That's the problem, but how the community can support to listen instead of being like a voice for the voiceless, pass the mic and listen to what individuals need and trust that they're an expert in their own lives and take a hint from that and let them tell you what they need and support that. And recognize when you are at a place where you have privilege over somebody else.
Those are two very important things that I subscribe to a lot too.
Awesome. I can tell that about you.
Yeah. So one is I believe that people know what they need for themselves more than what anyone else knows what they need for themselves. Yep. And two, that community and being a citizen, not necessarily a citizen of a government, but a citizen of a community is what's most important.
Well said.
So being able to, like what you said too, and I really appreciate you taking that time to, I think you might have thought that you were stumbling over your words, but it's not, because it's a hard conversation to have, right? Like you enjoy, because it's not a one size fits all. And that's what a lot of people want these days, is that big like hatchet, like, oh, maybe if we throw enough money at this,
right,
and if we have this one person that throws enough money at it, we'll fix it.
Yeah.
But like everyone has to realize like, hey, you got to look inside yourself. And like, what can you do individually to help that one person? Because if you have the means to help one person and everyone did that to help that one individual,
absolutely,
it would do so much more.
And helping one person can create a huge ripple effect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So don't sell yourself short if you happen to think that you're just helping one person. And chances are you're actually helping a lot more people.
Right.
Yeah.
No. So I appreciate that. So thank you.
No, it's so funny. Part of the reason why I was so nervous to come and speak today is because I have so much passion and I feel like I've got a good bit of knowledge, but I worry that I'm not going to speak about it eloquently and do these topics justice. So I appreciate your positive feedback.
No, certainly.
Yes.
And the other thing too is no matter how intelligent you are on a topic, no matter who you are, having a microphone, it always makes a difference.
Absolutely.
When it's sitting in front of your face.
You're so right. But like we said too, I mean, everybody is their own expert in their own lives. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on other people's lives. That's for sure.
Right.
No, I think it's great that you, unlike me, who I just say shit, and everyone I know is like, Chris, you were bullshitting out your ass, and sometimes I am, but a lot of time I think through things so quickly I can come up with an answer. But I love that you actually took the time to like think through instead of just being like, oh, well, you should do this. Well, that might not have been the right answer. Right. I like that you actually paused and you were like, let's think about this. What would make the most sense?
I think what you're saying too, I'm just thinking back just because we're heading into an election cycle, is when you think Medicaid, you think government, and then like when you did your introduction and when Chris told me about you, I was like, oh, government program, but not really.
Nonprofits.
And so, so nonprofits, I think, do much better than government programs just because they have the same type of pathway forward as most people need to accomplish something. And so with that being said too, I was thinking like, oh, government project, government employee. And so when you're not giving the political answer that you had like already that the PR like firm for the county gave to you, I was like, oh, a real life person. This is awesome.
That's
this is
me.
amazing. It's like, let's support this.
Yes. Oh, thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
No, I laugh because like you're talking about government, but in my head, I see it from my point of view in like the retail space where like brands give me information and it's like the most dry statement I've ever seen. And I'm like, how am I supposed to make someone believe this? Why does
I
it?
always loved getting those scripts.
You got to make it personable. Yeah.
It's like, why does it take this long to get this watch? Well, sir, this brand takes pride in their collection, and they take this much time to produce it, and they only produce this many watches in a year. And people are like, really?
That's what the script said.
I'm like, I can't tell you what I don't know. Like if I could. The way I work is like if I went to a facility and saw them go click, click, click and knock out while I'm sitting there 4 watches in a day, I'm like, why is it taking this long for me to get watches? But I haven't done that. So and people hate it because I've become so like straight shooting. Like when people ask me a question, they're like, hey, did you do this? No, I did not do that. I did this. I'm like, that's just how I have to. I've shifted, especially during COVID, because people are so, they're roundabout on everything and assuming so much shit. I'm like, no, everything I tell you, unless I'm like completely unknowledgeable about the situation, has an actual backing to it. And I'm going to tell you straightforward. Do I look pretty?
Yes.
Yes. To me, no. But to somebody.
You're funny.
I'm only going to clip the part where you said, do I look pretty? Yes. And I'm taking your yes out of it.
That's fine. I get it. Do what's going to be good for the show.
Oh, I love it. So I got one for you. How do you find Will Smith in the snow?
Oh, gosh.
I know this.
I'm not going to answer that.
Follow the Fresh Prince.
Okay.
You were scared. Oh,
good one.
That's how I know.
Is that appropriate for me to repeat that joke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me and Tyler literally are on like, I joke with my wife because we're on separate sides of TikTok. Like that clock app is, I didn't realize there were so many. It's just like people's lives. Like you could be sitting right next to somebody and even like the visuals that you see are 2 very different things. And I tell people all the time at work, I'm like, there's 3 sides to every story. And they hate me because I'm always nice to both people until I hear both sides of the story and I figure out the truth. But TikTok, I send Tyler enough stuff and he sends me enough that I'm like, I know we've seen some of the same shit.
Yeah. It's funny too with TikTok because my TikTok will change if I'm next to you or if I'm next like the next person at my work or if I'm next to Jennifer because I can't tell you. I'm sorry, go off track here.
No, I'm totally down.
But I can't tell you how many times when Jennifer's in the room where I've been around her for a long time that I'm on breastfeeding TikTok.
Yes.
No.
I'm so glad that we haven't had to take a sip every time you guys have said TikTok in this podcast so far.
You can go. We'll
I was going to say, we'll start now.
Can I say, I'll admit, I don't have a TikTok.
Lucky you.
So, I know. So I have one. I don't post anything.
Yeah, that would be, if I got a TikTok, that would be how I handle it. Yeah. But I watch enough. You know, I'm on Instagram. I see it through there. My sister and my longtime best friend send me the TikToks I need to see. So I feel okay.
Emily hates it because I send her Like because we have different work schedules, and I'll just pull it up and not pay attention and be on TikTok. And she the other day was like, so I haven't looked in a while, and I think you've sent me 114.
Yep.
Like, shit. I didn't realize I was on
And
there
then
that
you get
much.
caught when you don't. I'm saying this back to my boyfriend, Nikhil. I'll send him little Instagram videos, and this bitch will then send me the same one that I sent him. Like, clearly,
Yeah.
you didn't look at it.
Yes.
Jennifer did that to me yesterday. I was so mad.
But that's the thing about social media nowadays is like we talked about this the other week. Is like, hey, when you're doing 75 hard, usually like you put extra shit down and you focus more on what you're doing, which was a great thing. But still, there's so many times where we're focused on our things that we don't look at other people's stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you sent me this. And I'm like, Emily responded to something. I'm like, I heard that TikTok. I'm like, I sent that to you 3 weeks ago. I remember hearing that one. And she's like, yeah. I'm
Sorry, honey.
I don't care.
Since we're on social media right now, do you have a Be Real yet?
No.
I'm not even sure what that is. It sounds a little familiar.
If Max Schuning didn't know what that was until like 3 weeks ago.
It's a very new social media type of thing. It's kind of interesting where you'll get a update randomly on your phone and it says, all right, you have 2 minutes to take a picture of anything around you. So it's meant to take out the glam of social media.
Wait, did they have an SNL skit about
Yes.
that? Yes. Okay. I thought that was for an SNL skit. It's a real thing.
Yes. And TikTok has started doing that now.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
I did notice that. Yeah.
I randomly was like, hey, you have 2 minutes to go live. And I was like, I'm not going live. I haven't posted anything on here ever. Why do you think I'm going to do this?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's not many people that are on it right now because it's
Not
like
yet.
brand new. But it's interesting too because you don't see the glam version of people's lives. Like you see someone reading a book or like looking at their cat in bed or like.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
so
I
it's
do.
really interesting. You get to see like actually inside of someone's real life.
I just wouldn't want to be so connected to my phone that I have to post something in the next 2 minutes,
Yes.
though.
I
But
mean,
I appreciate the
you can do
real
it,
part.
You can do it later.
Okay.
It just says like, hey, so-and-so posted this like 59 minutes late.
Oh, it calls you out.
it, like,
So they had enough time to
dates
put a little
you.
makeup on, do their hair.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like, just so you know, they made sure they were in a beautiful location before they made
right.
this one.
Wait, who's your friend that sends you TikToks?
Oh, her name is Lindsay Wright. I've known her since elementary school, but we really bonded since high school. She's a therapist. It makes sense,
Yeah.
right? That we were drawn to each other
Yeah.
in our youth.
I thought you were going to say.
Oh no, I don't. This feels bad. I feel bad now.
No, so when we worked at Bath and Body Works, there was a crew. Like in most places, they have a huge turnover.
Yeah.
All the time. The year that we like worked together officially at Bath was like no one left because our manager was just that good that she elevated everybody. And
Did you
I'm
get
like,
promoted to district then?
yes.
She did.
That was an understatement. No, they took her. Our store was like, they do it in letter volumes, and she took our store from like a low letter to like the step below the top that this area has, and then like, all right, so you need to move and run this store. She upgraded that store. Then they moved her to a district manager, and then they moved her to another district. I don't actually know what she does anymore. She's a mom.
Yeah.
Has a pig.
Oh yeah, she does have a pig.
Wow.
It's a house pig. I'm being dead serious.
Like raised like a dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard they're
crazy.
very clean animals.
Yeah. I mean, they live in mud. I mean,
Well, the only reason why they get in mud is so they can stay cool. So
Yes.
if you're
You've
in
got
the cool,
AC.
yeah, right,
I
yeah.
don't need it.
everyone's like, oh, they're dirty. I'm like, nah, they're just trying to cool down. They don't have like the hair and the system that we do to like sweat.
Yeah, if I couldn't sweat, I'd roll in mud too.
You're right though. We had a core group that really, really enjoyed each other, even outside of work. Oh, I have to give you a shout out too. I just remembered. I remember our little core group
Yes.
was going out downtown after work one day. We had planned it. I think I was supposed to do the closing shift, but I wanted enough time to like do my hair and do my makeup and get cute to go downtown. And so you were sweet enough to switch your shift with me so I could take the morning shift and have enough time to doll myself up. So thank you, Chris.
Yes. Because I mean, This was back when I had no hair, so I could literally just show up and go out.
And Bath and Body Works was one of the great jobs that when you left, you actually smelled better than when you walked in.
Yes, good point.
Like, I could go to a club and not have to put on cologne or anything crazy. They're like, "What'd you put on?" I'm like, "Nothing. I just walked out the store."
All the girls were probably like, "Oh my gosh, you smell like Carolina butterflies."
Yes. At least it wasn't sweet pea.
Sweet pea. My favorite in middle school, but
I'm not even surprised.
right? I mean, but of course all the white girls love sweet pea in middle school, you know?
Yes. There was another one. At least you didn't say dark amethyst.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a good one, too. Warm vanilla sugar. Now that we're back on favorites. That probably still is my favorite. I love vanilla.
Warm vanilla sugar to me is like an old white lady.
That's what I am now anyway. That's fitting.
It is. I mean, it's just
You're not supposed to agree with that.
Well, I'm saying, like, it's just funny because, like, certain smells like I said, I associate with certain things.
Yeah.
Gosh, those are some good days.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that I look down, we ran up on our time extremely fast.
Oh, wow, great.
Yeah, already an hour, right?
Oh, wow. This has been so comfortable and great. I was so nervous. My stomach was hurting and everything.
I'm glad we were able to make it more comfortable
Thanks,
for you.
y'all.
But you said you listened to a few episodes.
Yes.
So we do have a famous question at the end of all of our episodes now. And if you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
I knew it was coming. Hey, girl, live in the moment. Stop stressing about things that may or may not happen in the future because you're missing out on the right now. I feel like I missed out on a lot of opportunities because I felt like I needed to conserve my energy for the potential.
Yeah.
I haven't totally figured that out yet in my adulthood, but I'm getting a lot better. Therapy helps, y'all. Go to therapy. Even if you're like, things are good, still go to therapy because you want to prevent things from getting bad.
So just
I'm so glad I could plug therapy real quick.
No, just to piggyback off of that real quick too, though,
Yeah.
is one of the things I've always, when I was in Pennsylvania, I always surrounded myself by certain people and everything so I could grow and everything, right? And people that are always better than me. And so I had an opportunity to get back up with that same group a couple years ago.
Oh, fun.
And when I was talking to them and everything, the one thing that all of them had in common is they all went to therapy. And I was like, oh, this is weird because I came from it's like, oh, you go to therapy when there's something wrong.
Right.
And just listening to them, they're like, no, it's really nice to sit down with someone that's literally paid to listen to whatever you want to talk about. And nothing needs to be wrong. And just to be able to just like let loose and talk about what you need to talk about.
Absolutely. Consider it like wellness checks, you know? At this point, I go to therapy once a month. I have a little notes section in my phone where as things come up between sessions and I'm like, oh gosh, why did I feel that way about that? Or why did I get my feelings hurt over something like that? I'll write it down and so I can remember to bring it up in therapy. Psychologytoday.com. That's a great place to start. If you're like, okay, cool, I'm interested in therapy. Where do I find somebody? If you go to that website, you can type in your location, your insurance, and it gives you a whole profile of therapists in your area. You can kind of it's a great way to honestly judge a book by its cover too. I have my therapist I found because she had a blue streak in her hair in her picture. And I was like, yeah, that's who I want to go to.
I love it. And it's interesting too, because like where we're located in the cargo district actually is 2 therapists.
Yeah. I noticed that in here.
Which you wouldn't expect, but it's really cool because they cater to specific clientele. Like yes, everyone needs to go to therapy, but just like with everything, there's not one answer for everybody. So figure out who works and what works the best for you.
Yeah. And we brought on Palmer too to talk about men's mental health. And he was talking about the same thing too.
Okay. I got to listen to that episode. Great.
Yeah, definitely. Palmer Grigsby. He's wonderful. He's been on the podcast multiple times now.
Awesome.
But yeah, he's a cool guy. And he was talking about the same thing. It was like, hey, you like find someone that meshes with you. Like look at exactly what you said, like almost judging a book by its cover.
For sure.
Right?
Totally.
But like,
I think I told her that too. I chose you because of the blue streak. Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, just knowing that like, hey, this person focuses on these things. Like that might make more sense.
And that's the great thing about that website, psychologytoday.com, is you can put in specific issues maybe that you're struggling with that you want to speak about and be brought up a list of therapists that specialize in that specific issue.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you.
Thanks, y'all. I'm so honored.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
I just felt like switching my voice up for that because when Emmy started this one, I was like, you have that voice. Like back in the day when they're like, hey, you have that phone call voice. Thank you for calling this radio station. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening to the podcast. It was a blast having you, Emmy.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks for making me feel so comfortable.
Yeah, thank you.
We enjoyed the Uncle Nearest.
Yes.
It was very good.
I'm almost done.
Surprisingly better than what I expected.
Yeah, very good.
I mean, we've tried quite a few alcohols since we started this, so.
I just don't know what to expect anymore when we go to try something.
That's fun. I like that.
But it's great.
Yeah, like I didn't expect to like the Howler Head at all because it's infused with bananas. And I was like, that's just seems gimmicky.
That was the HP Fang Grayson's.
No,
that was
mine.
Chris's.
That was yours. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Because you were like, I'm bananas. My life is bananas. That whole, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Emmy, do you have anything on social media or anything?
No, I do not want everybody following me on social media. No, I mean, I'm on Facebook and on Instagram, but
where can they go to support?
Oh, okay. So probably Communities and Schools of Cape Fear. The website is ciscapefear.org. There's lots of fundraisers. And if you just want to throw some money, you can do that on the website. I'm also on the board of Yoga Village, which is a local nonprofit that brings trauma-informed yoga to low-income and underserved communities. They're fantastic. They do yoga. They do yoga on the battleship about 8 times a year, about 4 times in the spring, and about 4 times in the fall. So we're finishing up our last one tomorrow, actually. But another fantastic nonprofit that I'm associated with that I highly suggest you all look up and support.
Oh, that's cool.
See, so we'll have them plugged in the show notes.
Yes.
So definitely check them out. Yeah.
Thanks, y'all.
Download, listen, because Spotify is horrible with keeping track of stuff. Definitely hit the download button when you're on Wi-Fi and download this episode and all previous episodes. Definitely makes us look nice. And, subscribe. Please. We would love it. Helps us out. And if you want to leave us a review, we would love that as well.
5 out of 5. Is it 5 stars, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Emmy just left us one.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. See you all in the next one.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Cheers.